I've been looking for a way out.
Alright, so I figured for some reason record this. I probably delete it. No one will probably even see this. But my truck's still getting worked on, and the surge tank, they end up having to replace that too. Whatever. So now the truck is all suited, but my coolant light won't go off. And this new surge tank, it's a newer model, so it's not the same like the old one. So to me, it's that sensor to the surge that sits in the surge tank. It sits up like that, and I think the new one, the new surge tank, the sensor sits in like that, or somehow, however, I don't freaking know. But either way, it's not done yet. It should have been done tonight, to where now it should be done in the morning, which in reality, I'm not able to get loaded until morning anyways, because night crew just not worth the time. But people ask me, or students ask me, how much they could make their first year. How many miles can they run a week? Stuff like that. It boils down to the person and the dispatch. And I say that because you, as the person, comes out here to drive these semi-trucks, to be a professional driver. Now, I'm not professional. I don't know how to do this job. I understand how to do it to the best of my abilities, to where I'm not out here fucking up, screwing up, making it harder for myself. But at the same time, there's a lot of common sense, general knowledge that's involved that will help you out if you pay attention and you actually want to learn how to do this job and grasp it and learn more each day. Because I don't know everything. You'll hear people say, oh, I know what I'm doing, blah, blah. I'm going to straight up tell you I don't know anything. I just understand what the hell I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. There's a lot of stuff that I should know, but probably just forgot mentally. But when I do it the right way. It's complicated, but anyways, running miles. If you have a company that has the mile, if you're with a company that has the miles for you and that's running you, you could run 3,000, 3,500 miles a week. But there's more to it just by just getting miles. You gotta calculate your pickup times, your delivery times, your unload times, how you work your clock, start your clock, end your clock, how many hours you drive per day, how do you trip plan, how many times you stop. All this stuff comes into play when you're trying to run and make money. There's people that come out here to make money, to travel. So they're out here more to travel, but they're making money at the same time, which is understandable. There's people out here that say they're out here to make money and they lollygag and decline loads and don't want to go and do anything. You got people that come out here that bust their ass every day, every time they wake up, start their clock, everything. You got so many different types of people that You could tell the person that's sitting there acting like he's a runner and he wants as many miles as he can, and when he gets on his own, he wants to sit there and lollygag and decline loads and complain and blah blah. So can't technically explain how many miles you're gonna make a week, how much you're gonna make per year, nothing. Because that basically depends on you and your dispatch, and pretty much how the company's doing too. And then on that note, I'll sit there and try to explain to you the way I do the job when it comes to macros, your hours, miles per, how many miles you put in per day, calculating from point A to point B, regardless if we're teaming or solo driving the load. Me personally, I worry about my pickups and deliveries before I even accept the load. Because sometimes I'm just off and not in that mental mind frame of where am I at with the load and blah blah. My mind starts screwing up and skipping time frames and shit, or days, until I get back on track and I was like, oh wait, hold on, and then I get back and do what I need to do. But anyways, I'm also the type to sit there and see how you are mentally, just basically, alright, give you the rundown of the Qualcomm, this and that, anything that we have to do daily. It's an everyday thing, just a different day. After you see me do it, and I show you how to do it, I'm going to start sitting there and expecting you to do it. Because in reality, once you got a mentor's truck, you're showing the mentor that you are able to do the job on your own. Not able to sit there and do the job constantly asking the mentor, what am I doing? Where am I going? All these questions after the first week, you should actually understand. Now, you get mentors, and sometimes depending on how I see how you learn and go off of stuff, I will still help you. But it gets to the point to where you have to start catching up. By the end of the second week, or halfway through the third week, I shouldn't have to sit there and explain everything to you over and over and over again. We could have conversation on the load of the best way to do it, or I'll let you explain how you're gonna do it, and I'll explain to you how I would do it. But there's stuff that, like the Qualcomm, it's explanatory. It's just like your cell phone, and that's what I tell everybody. The Qualcomm that we have is just like your cell phone. You got inbox, you got outbox, and then you got compose. The compose is where all your macros are at that you use. Just like freeform is macro 0. It's a blank page. You type in whatever you need to say to your dispatch and send it. Macro 1, arrived at shipper. You're basically saying you got to your pickup location. Stuff like that is common sense. And there's a lot of people that don't realize it because they got arrived at stop, depart from stop. And they're overthinking it. So when you get to your pickup, their first instinct is arrive at stop. You're there to pick up your load. How are you at a stop if you don't have a load or anything in? Yeah. But it's just stuff like that to where it's not that complicated. I know some people it's harder, but in reality, after your first week and I have you on those macros, it should be understandable. Point blank. And sliding tandems, scaling out, fueling, pre-trip, post-trip, inner trips, all these things you're supposed to be able to accomplish. One of my students, which I probably have a video explaining, I forget which one it was, but he asked me, we had a brand new reefer, brand new trailer, and and I always tell him, I was like, you do your pre-trip, and he gets out, and he walks around it, and he gets back in, and he's like, why do I have to do a pre-trip on a brand new trailer? Now, that right there kind of irritated and pissed me off, because in retrospect, he drove before. He drove 6 years ago. For him to ask me a stupid question like that, it's kind of frustrating, especially if you drove before. And in reality, you can't say it's stupid, because in trucking, basically there's no stupid question. But in reality, there is, but sometimes you just have to blow it off and explain to them. Just because it's a brand new trailer doesn't mean there's nothing wrong with it. Some of our brand new trailers, our freaking valve stems are leaking on them. And a lot of people don't even know how to slide the tandems on them, because there's a stopper in the front that's keeping it from going all the way to the 40 foot. It's just simple stuff like that that no one's paying attention to. They're just like, oh, it won't go nowhere. Okay, I'm done. I can't do nothing. They're not looking at what they're doing. They're just pulling the valve, sliding back. Okay, that's as far as it goes. I'm done. I can't do nothing. And to me, it's like, are you trying not to go and run this load? Or are you just fully not realizing what you're doing? And you just getting behind the wheel just to drive and think everything's okay? Now, I'm the type to where one of the reasons why I decided to mentor, because in reality, in my eyes, I'm not even eligible to mentor. It doesn't matter. It's like 6 years of driving, still not eligible to sit there and say I'm a mentor, because I still learn stuff daily, every day. But I hear about my students, friends or whoever that was in the same class with them, and they're on other people's truck, and they got mentors that's not teaching them the Qualcomm, not teaching them how to back up, not teaching them how to just maneuver the truck properly. And they're just having them drive. Well, that's the reason why I decided to mentor. Because before I started mentoring, there was something telling me, because I was like, I'm not going to mentor. I didn't, screw that. Why would I mentor? But every time I went to a yard or somewhere, I'm sitting there looking at these drivers like, what are you trying to do? And I walk by them, I'm like, what are you trying to do? You need help? Oh yeah, I need to get turned around, or I need to back up, or I don't know how to use the Qualcomm, or all this stuff that they don't know, because half of them didn't have the mentor to teach them. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to train. One of the reasons. Because every time I turned around, it seems like I was helping these drivers learn the Qualcomm, help them back straight up, or explain to them how to back up, or help them the easier way to get into the spot. And yeah, which I don't regret, because the more you help the people in your company, the better it helps the company. And that's how I look at it. I guess that's why I'm so frustrated with it. But I just figured, I don't know, I'm sitting here, so I figured talk real quick and just go from there. But another thing too is like, why'd you come out here to drive to get your CDL? There's multiple reasons why I came out here to get my CDL. One of them was because I always wanted to get my CDL. I grew up around trucks, and I loved how when I watched my uncle shift down the road and he freaking just started hitting gears and speeding up real fast and downshifting, and the sound of the truck just going down the hill, engine brake on, freaking stacks, just, yeah, all that is like lovely. It's a lovely sound. I don't know why. It's just great sounding. To where nowadays you get these newer trucks that's a little Tonka toy, little plastic pieces of whatever. But I always tell them, was like, you don't have, because a lot of them come out here, they don't really have bills. And I'm like, okay, well, you don't pay for rent, you don't pay for nothing besides a phone bill, or maybe car insurance, or maybe a car payment. I'm like, yeah, you can make all kind of money, but then you mentally have to sit there and be able to do it, mentally and physically, and want to make that money. Because you get people that come out here and just want to spend because they get a paycheck and they're going to buy this and buy that, and so on and so forth. But then you got people out here, drivers out here, that have a reason to be out here because they have a family. To where I know that's one of my things of why I'm out here. It's because of my family. And I know without having my family, I probably would have just been like, even if I got my CDL before I had a family, I probably wouldn't have lasted that long out here. Honestly, probably wouldn't have lasted that long. And now that I'm still out here, and I'm pretty sure a lot of drivers, depending on how long they've been out here, it's painful because you have a family that you never see. I try to go home for birthdays, certain holidays, and blah blah, but in reality, you don't see them. And it gets to the point to where you barely even talk to them. You don't know their schedule. They don't know your schedule. You call, no one answers, or they might answer. Most likely they won't, depending on what time you call, and it's because they got their own shit going on. But after a while, if you don't, depending on where you live and what you're doing and what you're able to go and do, if you get out of the truck, it might work out. But sometimes, a lot of times, come out here, you make a certain amount of money per year, to where it's like, where am I going to make that type of money at if I go home? And is it even worth it for me to go home now? Because in reality, even if you still go home, see your family and everything else, you still lose your family. because in reality you're never there, so it's just a big ordeal. And a lot of over the road drivers understand, that have family, that understand what I'm talking about. A lot of drivers are able to deal with that depending on their wives, girlfriends, or whatnot. Tomorrow I have my truck, and then I can't even say it's the truck, it's the freaking shop, honestly, that's put me in this predicament. It's been 5 days, going on 5 days now. My truck been down, just for them to work on it. But